The voiceover studio engineer of the stars in Los Angeles, California, a Virginia Tech grad with a knowledge of recording studios unmatched in his field. He's a voice actor from Buffalo, New York, with 30 years experience in recording studios and behind the mic. He solves people's home voiceover studio problems in the blink of an eye. Together, there's no studio problem they can't solve, and they'll do it for you tonight. Welcome to East West Audio Body Shop. Now, live from a basement in Buffalo and an office in L.A., here are Dan Leonard and George Whittam.
Good evening. I'm Dan Leonard in the East.
And I'm George Whittam in the West.
And together we are East West Audio Body Shop. Well, you know, here's the way I look at it. It's only August 7th. So if you're thinking summer's already over, we still got like 3 weeks before Labor Day. So there's still plenty of time to go eat lots of hot dogs and hamburgers and go sit in the grass and watch the clouds, or you could be inside auditioning. It's one of those things.
Yeah, it's beautiful here as it's supposed to be. Got a little chilly last night. I had to wrap a towel around Ella as we walked home from the beach. But yeah, it's not
that you have a far walk from the beach.
No, it's pretty close. Hey, this is a sublet. It's not forever. I'm going to gloat on it as long as I possibly can. And if a year comes and we still get to live here, then I'll shut up. I promise.
Excellent.
I'm looking at it like a year-long vacation rental, trying to make the best of it.
Yeah, really. Well, it's prime property you're at there.
Yeah.
No one knows what on earth we're talking about. Anyway, so it's been a fascinating couple of weeks in the voiceover business. We're wondering how your business is doing. Are you as busy as I am? It's nuts. The economy's going in the toilet. And for some reason, I have noticed in my entire broadcast career and in my voiceover career, not quite the same thing, that when the economy goes like this, my business goes like that. There's no rhyme or reason to it. I have no idea why that is.
That's interesting.
But, I look for recessions. I pray for recessions. It's like, let's go into a major depression. That'll be great for my business.
Is it the kind of work that you're doing? Is that why? Is it the clients that you're working with?
Well, there is one oil company in there, but I won't mention its name.
Right.
But it's big corporations, and apparently they've got the money to train. Now, it was a lot of government stuff too, but then all that stimulus money, it went in somebody else's pocket, and there was a couple of things there. I remember when Obama was inaugurated. Of course, the day he was inaugurated, I was having surgery. So I was actually asleep during the whole thing, which was great. But, afterwards, I'm thinking, they're going to start flushing all the government agencies with cash. They're going to have to train people. They're going to have to, advertise all these programs. And it was great. There was a lot of great stuff. And then all of a sudden, some of these clients had trouble paying their bills. They're saying, well, our client isn't paying their bills.
Right.
Right. Does that sound familiar at all?
Yeah.
Well, it's we're going to hang kind of loose tonight. We've got all you people out there watching the show. We want to hear from you. You can, if you have any questions, you can throw them on our chat room here. We've got a few other interesting things we can talk about. George and I are both Macs. We're not PC people for good reason. But
you guys all know we've talked about it enough.
We've talked about it enough, and there's a reason we talk about it, because we're right. I put Lion on my iMac about 2 weeks ago, and it's been fairly seamless. You're wondering if anybody else has tried Lion out there. Throw it in the chat room. Tell us if you've put it on. Yeah. I've noticed certain programs don't run as well, but they're not the Mac programs. Mm-hmm. Interestingly enough, I've noticed, we were talking earlier how my Audition CS5 has crashed on me a couple of times this week. That's because I was reading my scripts off Microsoft Word for Mac.
Yeah.
And when I turned that off, it stopped crashing on me. It may have also been overheating too, but,
you can read your scripts off your iPad then, right?
Well, either that or I just use TextEdit.
Yeah.
But it's actually a neat little program. It has a little bit more versatility. It certainly boots up faster.
Oh, way faster. I recommend TextEdit over Word all the time. If all you really want to do is read doc files that your clients send to you for copy, I always set up TextEdit to be the default app. So when you double click on a doc, it launches TextEdit.
I'm going to do that right now, as a matter of fact. How do you do that?
Well, the easiest way is you do Command I or get info on any doc file, any .doc file from the Finder. Then you get that skinny window it opens up, and then there's a place in there where it says open with. It's about halfway down.
Of course.
And then you say, I want it to open with TextEdit, and then you check the little box, to
make that
do this for all doc files. And if you're lucky, it'll actually work. Usually it does.
Yeah, I mean that's what I usually do. It's like well, I want to open this doc file, but I want to open it in TextEdit. Yeah, and that's how I do it.
Yeah, it works out really well.
Sometimes I don't listen very well, but
yeah. So, Frank said, "Is there any experience with using a 7-inch Android with Froyo?" Well, I have a 3-inch Android running Froyo. It's my phone. Froyo is Android 2.2.
Oh, okay. I'm not an Android person. I'm sorry.
Yeah, this phone has been really great to me. I've really, really been happy with it. Could I use it for recording voiceover? No, because there's still no professional way of connecting a mic to it. I don't know if there ever will be, because that's the problem with Android. It'll run on any number of devices, and in the Apple world, the software, hardware are so tied together so well that it's actually an accident at all that it even works. That you can plug a USB mic into an iPad and get a recording out of it.
Well, sort of, but you still have to use a powered hub to do it.
Yeah, there is a workaround. You do have to use a powered hub. But the fact that it works at all is pretty amazing. But there aren't really any Android devices yet that I'm aware of that have the drivers to plug a USB mic in. If that changes, I'll certainly be sharing the news. And I do know one guy who is guaranteed to figure that out sooner than anybody, and that's probably Dave Cavassier. Because he's agnostic. He's got Windows, he's got iPad. I don't think he has any Macs, but he's also got a Zoom, which is an Android tablet. And I'm sure that once that capability is there, there goes my light. As soon as that capability is there, he's probably going to be the first one to blog about it. So I read his blog a lot. He is a really, really busy blogger.
He does not sleep. I know that for a fact. I roomed with him at the last FAFCon, and I was up partying till the wee hours of the morning, and I figured, and he had been awake for like 18 hours, and I came back up to the room. He's typing away, writing his blog, and I'm like, "Gee whiz, don't you ever sleep?" He's like, "No, don't have time." So,
well, he lives in Vegas. It's all part of the game. It's all part of the package.
What do you call people from Vegas? Are they vegans?
Yeah. If you go to Vegas, you're not going to find too many vegans. I'll tell you that. Believe me, I'm a vegetarian. I've been there, and trying to find a place to eat there is not easy. Not easy at all.
Well, here's one of the little toys I bought this week. I know it looks like a silver square because that's what it is. No, it is the Magic Pad. Now, Apple's had these for a while, but I figured since Lion now really is to be, what they were trying to do with Lion is to really make it a little bit more like the iPad. It's much more big icon based, and you can flip around windows and stuff like that with an iPad. So I figured it might be a good idea, instead of using a mouse, to start using the little trackpad, which is really cool because I can maneuver things from anywhere, except you have to click it from the bottom. It's right. You can't just click it when it's on your hand. But I was doing a script today, and I was able to scroll. The way you scroll is with 2 fingers, and you can go side to side with it by going this way. Oh, what are some of the other things? You click and drag.
It mirrors the functions of the MacBook. Right.
Exactly.
Trackpad
works really well, and it was actually very, very comfortable. I had it on a stool at about at a very easy height, and I was able to just put my fingers on it and drag the scroll line. Usually I use a Bluetooth mouse, with a scroll wheel on it. But every time I would push on the scroll wheel, it would put all my widgets on. So all of a sudden I'd see a weather map.
Right.
So that was a bit of a problem. So if anybody's got any questions, we'll be glad to answer them. Get them on the chat room. We had a special guest for today, but he's in France. And unfortunately, France has gone on strike, so we can't even talk to him.
We're going to have him on a future show.
Yeah, Tom, what's his last name? I can never remember.
I think it's Thierry.
Thierry. He's the gentleman who designed Twisted Wave. And but we unfortunately can't get a hold of him today, and it's also like 3:00 in the morning in France anyway. Right. But we want to take your questions. Those of you who know how to get a hold of us on Skype, you can try and get a hold of us on Skype. Also, remember, if you have a question for us and would like to be on the show in the coming weeks, our email address is ewebshop@gmail.com. Some weeks the mailbag's kind of heavy, other weeks it's kind of thin. We know you're out there. We know you have questions. Please let us know what your questions are. We're here to help you. And we don't have to talk about, tech all the time. We can talk industry stuff and what's going on in the forums. Some of the discussions that have been going on in there have been pretty interesting.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I mean, you'd probably be better at filling people in right now. I don't know how much of a chance you've had to look at stuff, but I've actually had a couple relatively large projects wrap up in the last 2 weeks. So I haven't really been sitting and reading the forums much lately. I've been putting a lot of time into Google Plus, actually.
Yeah. Have you noticed how many of you have done Google Plus? I mean, how many circles are you in now?
Oh, I've created maybe 8 circles, I think. Yeah. I think the problem is if you make too many, then it gets harder. It gets too fragmented, and then it gets harder to, figure out, well, they should be in this circle and that circle. And it gets complicated really quick, but I've enjoyed the discourse on there. There's been a lot of, it's just better discussions. I don't know. People are coming into Google Plus with sort of a different attitude. I don't know what it is. There's less soapbox standing, less ranting, and more just kind of exchange of information. That's been my experience anyway.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to go to a break right now, and we'll take your questions, and maybe we got some other special stuff coming up too. So stay tuned. We're East West Audio Body Shop. We'll be back right after this message.
VoiceOver Extra, the voiceover industry's online news, education, and resource center 24/7. Hundreds, probably thousands of free how-to articles for voiceover success, ranging from home studio to voice acting to business. A free voiceover industry directory, calendar of industry events, resource links, a store, and much more. Bi-monthly webinars on all topics of voiceover, free subscriptions to newsletters, reports, announcements, daily news, and features at voiceoverextra.com.
This thing will not go off. Diane Merritt gave me this stopwatch, and it's still going off.
Good grief, Dan. Give me that thing.
What?
This, right here. Here.
Oh.
Wait a minute. She's right there.
Diane is here. Come on in here.
Get on camera.
Hi.
Just drag yourself in.
Can you chair?
We'll drag this. We'll just pull it on over here.
Get cozy.
There we go.
Hi.
Cozy.
Zoom back a little bit, and
Well,
there we go. How's that?
Hey there. You guys looking good together?
hi.
Hey, hi.
Hi. Well,
Hi from the North Pole.
I'm out of place. Excuse me for 1 second.
Oh.
I just
Yeah, she has to get into costume here.
Beautiful.
there.
Okay, good.
Is that
Dan,
better?
don't let your wife watch this show.
She's always watching.
You let her wear your shirt? No, I'm just kidding. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Excellent. It's so cool that you have family in the Buffalo area?
Yeah, well, I was born and raised in Buffalo, so my dad is still here, and I'm up visiting, and we all got together, and
We had great breakfast yesterday at the original Pancake House. We have 3 of them in Buffalo.
3
How many
originals?
got in LA?
They're all the original, right? Every one of them.
Each one of them totally original. Anyway, you had a question for us because I mean you showed up here and you always have lots of questions for me anyway. But what was it that you wanted to ask us about?
I'm having issues with Skype as usual. I wasn't sure if it was settings or whatever, but I just can't seem to record while I'm on Skype. So I'm having that issue.
And you're using you're on Windows, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're on Windows, and you're using which software?
What with
to record?
Using Audition, right?
Yeah, Audition 3.0.
Okay. Well, it's basically it's not letting you share the device. So like you can be in Skype and you're working along just fine. Then you hit record in Audition and no waveform shows up, just flatline. Is that what's happening?
Yeah.
Now, usually, sometimes it's the auto level adjust. Sometimes will screw that up.
Yeah, I don't know if you're still getting levels in Skype. Then I don't think it's the auto level adjust, because if it was, then it would also turn it down in Skype. That's a problem we have in Mac, and I think Windows has it too, but more so in Mac, where the auto level control in Skype that brings your mic level up and down to level it out will also in turn affect the record level. And there is a fix for that. You can do a little little change to the preference file.
Did you post that on our site?
You know, if I didn't, I promise I will this week, because I meant to do that. But it's a great way to repair that issue. But if you're not even getting a signal at all, I think it may not be related.
I can talk on Skype.
Yeah.
I can talk on Skype, but then when I hit record on Audition, there's nothing.
Okay. Well, there's two workarounds that I can think of right off the top of my head. The first workaround is you could get a program that's a Skype call recorder that you just run. I think it'll plug itself into Skype. Like I have one for the Mac called Call Recorder. And it just runs, it's a little program that sort of plugs into Skype, and it has its own little window that pops up. And it gives me the ability to record any call, and records both sides of the conversation. It can split the two into two separate files. It's pretty clever. So that would be one workaround, is to get a program designed specifically for recording. And what that'll do then is it'll record your audio cleanly the same way that Audition would. And it will also record the other caller, but I think it'll split them into two tracks, or let you split them into two tracks, so you'll be able to separate out the other caller.
Okay, so I wouldn't use Audition. I would just use this Skype program.
Right, and then when you're done, obviously, then you open the file in Audition and you do your editing.
Got it.
If that feels weird to you, another workaround would be to use a different audio device just for Skype. In other words, use, say, the audio device built into your computer, into your machine, just for Skype. And what you can do now is then interface that with your microphone with a mixer, so the caller can hear your voice over Skype, or just simply use a separate, like a USB headset or something, just for the purposes of talking to that person on Skype.
Right.
I like the mixer thing, because then you don't have to have a separate headset. Do you wear headphones while you work on the mic anyway, Diane? Or no headphones?
Yeah, most of the time, yeah.
So you're a headphone user. Okay, so you're already used to having headphones on.
She's hardcore radio.
Yeah.
Shut up, Jan. I hate you now. You know how we hate to admit that. I hate that.
Well, if you're used to having the headphones on, then it's kind of nice to use a mixer to then combine the Skype audio with your microphone, and then take the feedback from the computer and bring it into your headphones. And for that, you can use just a very simple, cheap, like a little Behringer mixer. I mean, like a $50, $60 mixer.
A separate mixer, because I've got a Mackie, so I use.
Oh yeah, you have a Mackie mixer already. Yeah,
but I also have an old Behringer that I was using before the Mackie, so I still have it.
Yeah, if you already have a mixer, you're already set. Okay, so all you need to do is take the line in and line out of your PC. Is it a desktop computer, like a tower?
Yeah.
It's going to have a green, a yellow, a green, a blue, and a pink head jack right on the back. It should. Green is output, blue is line in, and pink is mic in. Just use the blue in and the pink or the green out. And then what you can do is use an auxiliary send from the Mac to feed the line in of your computer. And then you turn up auxiliary send on the channel on the mixer that your mic preamp is connected to. So that sends a separate feed of your mic right out to Skype.
Okay,
Then,
but it won't affect the recording on Audition or anything like that when I'm not on Skype.
right, exactly.
Okay.
It'll be completely transparent to the work. I mean, nothing will change at all. And then the return of Skype, the output of the computer, just plug into another channel on your Mackie mixer and turn it up. And then you'll be able to hear the Skype caller in your headphones.
Okay.
We did that once. We did that a couple of years ago when we did a podcast. And I remember we were using Soundflower, and I had like one cable coming out of the Mac and going back over to my PC. It was nuts.
Well, basically, you're using the PC as a phone hybrid.
Right.
And you're using that whole computer as a phone hybrid. That's all it is. And you hook it up exactly the same way that you would a regular phone patch.
Right.
You know,
and here's the other way.
Yeah.
You get an iPad, and you put Skype on your iPad, and you have your iPad sitting there and talk to somebody on Skype that way.
Well, if you want to do video chat, that would be if you want to do the video half of it, that would be the way to do it.
I did that on Friday. I had a session, and they were like, well, how can we communicate? I said, well, I'll just put my MacBook over here, and you can watch my tuchus while I'm reading. And it worked great because there was a little bit of hiss. I hit the mute button and I finished. How was that? That was great. And it's actually very personal because if they've got a camera and you can talk back and forth, it's like you're actually in the studio with them. So if you've got an extra computer, even if you've got an old PC or something like that, if you've got another old computer, just use Skype that way and don't use that as your recorder. Use your main computer as your recorder.
Yeah.
And that's very efficient, and it's almost like being there.
Yeah, that works really well. The only thing you miss out on doing a second computer for Skype is the ability to transfer audio files on the fly. That's one thing I love about Skype is the ability to transfer files, unlimited size. Like it doesn't matter how big the file is. As soon as you're done recording, drag it into Skype chat, and the person on the other end will start receiving the file. I think that's a real power user feature that I think a lot of people overlook. It's like a seamless FTP.
Right.
It's really sweet. But Diane, I think between Dan and I, we could probably suss out the best solution. But I don't think that getting Skype and Audition to share the same audio device is probably going to be the most elegant.
That's not going to be easy. Yeah.
Yeah.
But while you're here, actually, you've got some other stuff you want to talk to us about too. You're having a big charitable thing that's going on. You want to tell us about it?
Yeah.
Please do.
My mom had passed away just about 2 years ago from Alzheimer's. And the Alzheimer's Association is doing these walks. In fact, they're doing it all over the United States on different dates. But they're holding one in Greenville, South Carolina, where I'm from. Or where I live. I'm from Buffalo. But
we don't talk about that.
So anyways, they're having a walk on October 22nd. And so what I am going to do is take 10% of my earnings in September and put it towards a donation for the Alzheimer's Association.
Wow.
So I had sent out some emails and stuff like that to my friends and family and clients and telling them about it. And if they knew anybody who had work to just, send it to me because I'm not asking for money. I'm just asking for work. The more I work, the more I can donate. But if people did want to donate, I've, had a link as well where, and people have been donating. So that it's been awesome. And I'm really excited for the walk. And this is a disease that I just absolutely despise. And I'm hoping that these walks all over the country help raise enough money to make a dent in finding some kind of cure. Because it's terrible. A lot of voiceover people have emailed me and said they've lost, their parents or one parent to this disease, and my heart just goes out to anybody who's been through it or is currently going through it. And I think it's touched a lot of people.
I think everybody knows somebody that knows somebody, or they've had a relative that's happened to. It's a devastating disease, but there is hope, and there are wonderful people like you who are raising money to make sure that a cure is found. And I know you have a lot of wonderful clients already who have said, well, I'm going to give you extra work.
Yes, they have.
In August. So
they have, or in September, they're going to, send me, send me some extra work. So it's been great. So far, a lot of people have really, helped. So it's been great.
Well, that's great. Well, I'm glad you're able to tell us about it. So now you have to post the link on this, George. We'll get that to you during the break,
I'll put that in my show notes list here.
That's awesome. Thank you.
And we'll put it on our website and make sure that everybody hires Diane. We don't want to work. We want Diane to work this month.
I'll put pictures of the walk too. After we do the walk, I'll put them up on Facebook and everything. So
fabulous.
Everybody can see. Beautiful city of downtown Greenville. It's really awesome down there.
Well, we're getting several people saying that they want to help out one way or the other. I know Frank says he'd love to record some PSAs for you, and put down a donation. And it's great. There's people
awesome.
Coming out of the woodwork already. So
thank you very much. It's for a great cause, and I'm really, really hoping that I was just amazed at how many walks. I mean, if you even just go to the association's website, you can find a walk right in your own town. They're everywhere, and so I'm hoping that there'll be a lot of walkers coming up this fall, and it's a great time of year to do it too. You know, in the fall. So get out there and walk for somebody. I'm going to be walking for Terry Connors. I think his mother had passed from it. Mike Mitchell. I'm going to walk for Pat Fraley's mom, who is currently has Alzheimer's. There are so many people that have just emailed me and said, "I've lost a parent. I've got a parent who's got it," and my heart just goes out to them because I've been through it, and it's really hard. It's not like it hurts them, the person who has it. It hurts the people around them. The last year my mom was around, she just didn't really know who I was. I mean, she would glimpses every so once in a while. Diane, but seconds later, she wouldn't know. Yeah. So it was really difficult.
Well, we're glad we can help out, and we're glad you're doing something about it.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. Well, we'll be back in a couple of minutes here, and again, we've got your questions. I'm seeing a number of interesting questions coming up in our chat room, and we'll be right back here on East West Audio Body Shop, so stay right where you are. Don't go away. What else were you going to
Sometimes you got to take yourself and your voice on the road, but it shouldn't interfere with your voiceover business.
On Tuesday, August 9th at 9 p.m., Dan Leonard, the home studio master, and VoiceOver Extra present Recording on the Road, a webinar, a primer on do's and don'ts. Here's what we'll cover: when to and when not to record on the road and why, how to plan ahead, the right equipment, and all the new stuff to do it, finding the right place and the right setup, and proper recording techniques for being outside your studio, traveling light and dealing with TSA. Don't miss Recording on the Road, Tuesday, August 9th at 9 p.m. Register online at voiceoverextra.com.
So join us for VoiceOver on the Road and never miss another audition or important project.
And we're back here on East West Audio Body Shop. Dan Leonard here in the East, George Whittam out in the West. Diane Merritt joining us here in Buffalo, where it's like 80 degrees. The Miami of the North. We both lived through the blizzard of 77 here. So,
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who remember the blizzard of 77 when the snow was at rooftops. It was amazing, but we won't get into that right now. I'm seeing a couple of interesting questions on here. I know Pat was asking, where do I get all these shirts? Kohl's. They're like $10 and they pay you to shop at Kohl's. It's amazing.
What do you mean? With the credit card?
No, they now we can get Kohl's as a sponsor too.
Yeah.
They give you, Kohl's cash. I get a coupon for like 20% off every day. My wife goes there and shops and she'll buy a lot of stuff. And it's like, look, I got $100 off all this. Yeah, but how much did you spend? But anyway, but the shirts, they've got great Hawaiian shirts there. And, and I've expanded my collection extensively there. So
excellent.
So Pat, come on down here from Toronto and you can buy some Hawaiian shirts there. A lot of people are asking about CS5, Audition CS5. And I've been using it for about a month and a half now since it came out. And some people said, well, I've been reading in the forums. A lot of people are saying that it's not doing what they want, that they don't understand it. Some people are saying they totally rewrote it. It's a completely different program. Well, to me, it's a lot like Sound Booth with a few other features in it. It works like Photoshop. If you've ever used Photoshop, it's all the Adobe panels. It works very, very well. You have to learn to customize it a little bit, which you can do. You can go into the edit and edit the shortcut keys and make it do what you want. Mark, make it an M, auto heal, make it an A. It's real simple. And I've been able to create the workflow with it that I want because it's totally customizable. So if you're confused, go into the shortcut keys editor and change that. Also, I've noticed, remember I was mentioning before when I put on Lion, I had a couple of crashes. Usually if you crashed with Sound Booth or some other program after you've recorded half an hour of a chapter of a book, it was gone. I've noticed since I've had like 2 or 3 crashes that it comes right back. Do you want to continue with what you were doing? Yes, I want to continue. The file comes back, which has been a real lifesaver this week, considering how much stuff I've been doing. So it's a nice thing. It's a nice thing to have. So, if you want to be critical of Audition, be critical of it. If you're, a lot of people say, I don't want to change from 3.0 to CS5, 5.0. It works great. I haven't had too much, aside from the couple of crashes, which I've been able to recover from. It's still a matter of, just getting used to it, and took me 2 days. And as I said on one of the forums, I'm like, for crying out loud, blah, blah, blah. It's a DAW. It's a digital audio workstation. They're all the same. Waveforms look the same. It's all the same. It's, highlight, paste, cut, what else is there? It's all the special features that none of us really need.
Yeah. Most of the basics are in all the programs.
That's right. Except for Twisted Wave, which is basic and works fabulous for all you users out there.
Yeah.
And Thomas would have been thrilled to tell us about it tonight too.
No, Twisted Wave to me is it's for those that really don't want to know more than the absolute basics. They really just they don't want anything to get in the way. They don't ever need to produce a commercial. They don't need to mix effects. They don't need to, blah, blah, blah. They just need to record, edit, maybe some processing, and then send the file. Right. Or do lots and lots of individual files and chop it up into smaller pieces.
Right.
And do batches. That's another thing it's really good for.
I've been using that. That's easy to
Are you
mark.
using it just for that one feature? I know you use most of the Sound Booth.
I record and edit in using Audition.
Right.
And then I've been taking those files and I can mark them in Audition using, M. And then I can download the file, I can mix it down, put it into Twisted Wave, and all the marks stay there. So if I'm divvying it up into chapters or something like that, It does a great job of that, and I can go back and just find the marks, and then you can name the marks whatever you want, and then split by marks, and they just name the file which you named the mark. And
that's something that most people I don't think realize, is that the markers do follow along the WAV file or the AIFF file. They won't follow along in the MP3, but that's okay because you don't want to edit and resave an MP3 anyway.
Right.
And why do you not do that, Dan? Do you know why you don't resave an MP3 or edit an MP3?
Well, it's probably like recording on a cassette tape. You're going to lose generations, and you're going to lose stuff, little digital samples here and there. You're already cutting off the upper end of it anyway.
That's the analogy I use. It's sort of like generation loss. Remember having to make a dub of a videotape? That was the worst. I mean, by the third dub, the copy of the copy of the copy, the picture was completely obliterated. Well, it's a sort of the same thing with MP3. So
it looked like European TV.
Yeah. Well, those WAV file and AIFF files keep those markers. It's called metadata.
Right.
And so you can go from one program to another, and the markers follow along.
So that's why when you try to save when you try to save it, and you want to save it to MP3, you want to divvy it up into individual MP3 files, it says metadata is not supported. Yeah,
that's why it does give you that error message. It's a little annoying. I wish it would kind of just tell you one time and go away. And if you're listening, it's just there to remind you that if you're expecting all those markers to travel along with the file, once it's an MP3, they won't be there. So that's what that's about.
Right. Now, Diane had another question, and I figure we'll just throw this out too, because you want to know more about Source Connect. And I had a very interesting conversation with my agent this week, who I think everybody knows. It was a discussion about, should I get ISDN? And he's like, well, people don't like Source Connect. It drops out. It's this, it's that. I'm like, I've never had a problem with it, except that when my license ran out. But other than that, how can you get Source Connect, and really what should somebody do if they want to try it?
Well, Source Connect is it's really gaining a foothold in the voiceover industry. I think
Tell my agent that.
It's highly poised to be the one that everybody goes to when ISDN switch is turned off. When that's going to be, ask the U.S. government. I think they're probably the biggest, users of ISDN at this point, as far as I understand, and banks maybe. Anybody that wants to have secure transfer of data that's private and not internet based may still be the only ones using ISDN. But when that switch gets turned off, I think Source Connect is going to be the one that's most likely to take over, because it's already penetrated the market pretty heavily. And I think a lot of that's due to me, because I always thought it was the next logical thing to take over. And I think about 4 years ago is when I started telling people about it. But to actually answer your question, you can get a 15-day free trial of it. The key is you have to get an iLock. You have to get one of these little blue keys, which I've got.
I've got mine here.
Here, Dan's got it. You have to have an iLock. The iLock itself is going to cost $40, $50. $40. Yeah, and then once you have that, then you can get a license to run the software. You can get a 15-day free trial and give it a try at sourceelements.com. Sourceelements.com. And if you do like it, and you figure out how to get it working, and all this, and the whole process of, setting up the iLock and configuring the software all is a breeze to you, go ahead and just buy it from Source Elements. If, however, the whole idea of doing that stuff makes you throw up a little bit in the back of your mouth, then I sell it. I'm a licensed reseller. I'm probably one of their biggest resellers at this point. And I throw in a lot of extra help. So you get tutorial videos, and I'll spend extra time holding your hand through the setup process, through getting the iLock working and all that stuff. So I've been doing that for a lot of people. But it does rely on the internet. So of course that is the weakest link by a long shot is the internet. If you're using it mainly at home, then you have the ability to have control over the who's using the internet in your house and how much bandwidth is available. And it tends to be way more reliable. If you're using it traveling, it's definitely a wild card. I have a lot of clients that do get away with running it pretty well at hotels. But you need to make sure you have, a good, pretty fat pipe available. When I say fat pipe, I'm referring to about 300 kilobits per second upload and download, continuous. The download's not a problem.
Free Wi-Fi, that's for darn sure.
No. This is not something you want to use free Wi-Fi for. You want to have dedicated internet connection. If you're in a hotel, you want to plug in, not use Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is definitely not recommended for Source Connect. It reduces the reliability considerably. I never recommend using Wi-Fi for anything that's mission critical where it's streaming audio or video continuously. It's a huge area of point of failure. So
maybe that's what he was talking about. Maybe he's in hotels all the time. Maybe that's why he's having all the problems.
It could be. I mean, if he has no reason to use it ever in his home studio and he only ever uses it traveling, then certainly he's demoing it in a less than ideal situation. It has two kind of major users. There's those that have ISDN at home, and now they want to travel, and they still have to keep up with all those ISDN clients. These are mostly the promo people out there. They're using it for that reason. And a friend of mine, Steve Nafshin, has a company that does nothing but bridging from Source Connect to ISDN. He calls it Out of Here, outofhear.com. That's all his company does. And he does quite well because he's got a lot of people that need this bridging because they want to take a vacation. They want to leave the house. Mm-hmm. But then the other users are those that just don't have the access to ISDN or just don't want to shell out for a dying technology and are buying it and now starting to use it at home, but still have to be able to meet the demands of ISDN users, clients out there. So if you get hooked in with a bridge, that's something that will work for you.
Getting ISDN at your home now is going to become increasingly difficult.
It's becoming more difficult for years. Yeah, it never gets any easier. I'll tell you that.
Right. So I don't understand why the agencies just don't go to Source Connect and say, now according to some people, it is happening. And they're going to become more and more accepting of it, and which will be a big help. I've used it. I've recorded national stuff on it. I remember I recorded my demo in LA while sitting here in my basement. So it does work and it sounds fine. I don't know what people are complaining about.
The audio quality trumps ISDN, actually. It's capable of quite a bit higher quality audio. I mean, it's good enough to do a demo. So, I mean, if it's good enough to record a demo, I think that says a lot. I mean, it really is. It's quite impressive. Peter O'Connell asked, actually, if you use Source Connect, what kind of internet connection do you recommend? Fios, cable, or other? If you have access to Fios, why aren't you using it?
Really.
I use it. Dan and I both use it because we're lucky enough to have it available here, and it is just rock solid. I mean, it is absolutely reliable. Ever since I moved to my home here in March, at the end of March, and been doing our show from here, we have not had, knock on wood, a single interruption of our show, of our stream yet, since using Fios. It's been awesome. Cable modem can be really good as long as you've got a really fast cable modem system in your area. Cable modems, 25 megabits download is common. Upload, you're going to get maybe a meg. But as long as it's pretty consistent, and cable's not really known for being consistent speed-wise, you should be in pretty darn good shape. Cable modem seems to work real well. Yeah. If you're on DSL, as long as you've got like the 768 kilobits per second up and down or faster.
And you're right next door to wherever it is that the DSL is coming from.
Yeah, the switch or the DMARC or whatever they call it. If you're close to it, you'll get good speeds. But Fios is just it's still so hard to find.
Yeah. They dug up our neighborhood last year, and boy, as soon as it was available, you darn right I want it. And then of course there was old Fios TV and all. Suddenly you have a huge bill at the end of the month.
Well, yeah, I use
just for the internet.
I know. I use it just for the internet. I'm paying roughly $70 a month.
You don't want
I have 25 megabits up and down. I mean, that's incredible. The bandwidth for uploading, it's fantastic.
Yeah, I noticed like a triple in speed. It was pretty amazing. Like if you're using an FTP or something, you used to be like, okay, I think I'm going to go to the bank while this is downloading or uploading and something like that. And now it's like,
all I can say is if you're thinking of moving and you're trying to break a tie break between two places, the one with FiOS, that's the one to go with.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we're going to take a little break here right now. Again, if you've got a question, throw it on our chat room. This is chat room week here with our special guest, Diane Merritt, who's not saying a word here.
I'm just loving the show.
Oh, she's a fan. She's watched and now she's like seeing it from our huge studio.
I know.
And we're not letting her get a word in edgewise.
I'm very jealous.
All right. Well, we'll be right back after this. So stay right here. All right, and we're back. We're just having a great time here.
Oh, God, it moved.
Oh, wow. Diane's playing with my iPad. She hasn't used an iPad yet.
Look at that. Look, it's moving, guys.
Ooh.
Wow. Flips around. Can't do that with your laptop, can you?
Scared me.
I know. But I'm looking. The wife and I are finally taking a vacation without our kids on Friday. We're getting out of here.
Such rotten
there'll still be somebody here, so don't say, oh, the Leonards are gone now. But we're gonna go. We're gonna travel off to Seattle, and I want to take my iPad with me, and I'm also going to take a road rig with me, because I want to test out all this stuff I'm going to talk about Tuesday night. If you're wondering, maybe you saw the spot earlier. I'm doing a webinar with VoiceOver Extra Tuesday night at 9 to talk about recording on the road. Now, you just talked a lot about the ISDN stuff and Source Connect and recording on the road. Generally, you don't have to worry about this kind of stuff. I think there's a lot of young people out there that are just getting into the business, maybe not so young. And they got to be there for the auditions. I got to do. When you're on vacation, you're on vacation. But like you were saying, somebody like Joe Sip or these guys who are, they travel a lot because they can afford to, and they're doing promo work and image work and political spots and stuff like that. They've got to have the ability to record on the road. If I'm bringing my iPad, I'm going to bring my trusty AT2020 USB with me, and the powered USB hub, because I've tried it and it actually works. I can record with Twisted Wave on my iPad, and the technology isn't hard. It's all the other stuff connected to it. How to plan ahead. How do you set up in a hotel room or at mom's house? Things along those lines. How do you set up an impromptu, quiet voiceover studio if you're on the road? And that's pretty much what we're going to talk about on Tuesday night. So go to voiceoverextra.com and, and maybe we can run the spot again. You can see the link to go to, but we want to make sure that you're there and can learn how to record on the road. Although mostly I think I'm just going to be discouraging people from doing it. You ever do anything
Yes,
on the road?
I did.
How did you do it?
Okay, well, this is really kind of comical.
Okay, well, good. We can use some comedy right about now.
So I'm in Buffalo visiting my dad. This was last year.
Last year you were here,
yeah. And I brought my portable studio because I knew there were a couple things I would have to do. I told most of my clients I'm going to be out of town, but I knew there were a few things I had to do. So I set up in my dad's coat closet, and I had a long mic wire going out to my laptop, which was in like a hallway. And I got in there, and of course, there's no light in this closet. That's probably 3 by 3, or I was like that.
If you're lucky.
And there was no light. So my dad actually was in the hospital at the time. So I was looking for a flashlight, and every time I find a flashlight, they would die out. And then I found this other flashlight that I bought in that stupid where you have to shake, and you have to shake it. It's like, and that thing didn't work very well.
I'm just imagining you shaking your flashlight and trying to read your copy, editing out all the sounds.
So then I gave up on that. And then all of a sudden I found this brilliant flashlight, and it was the one that you put on your head.
Oh, yeah.
I've used those.
It's like a miner.
Uh-huh.
Can you see me doing that? Come on.
Yes.
It ruins my hair.
Yeah.
So anyways,
You're in a closet. No one will notice.
And I'm like, oh, this is so cool. So yes, that's what I did.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
and it worked.
Everybody's got a story. Harlan Hogan has a bunch of stories about recording. He's written a whole book about it. But recording on the road, I think it's going to get easier and easier. Corvo was talking so much about this Alessis thing the other day, and slides right. He even had the video. Do you see the video he did with that?
Doc. I don't think I saw the video yet.
Yeah, it's on his blog, and it slides right in. He should really be demonstrating products for a living.
I know.
The heck with the new stuff. It's and it sounded pretty good. But the great thing about the Alessis is you can just plug a mic right into it.
Right.
And but it's kind of bulky. It's like, why don't you just bring your laptop?
Yeah, if you're going to bring something that bulky, I would pick the MacBook Air or something, another kind of laptop, or even a netbook over carrying that whole thing around. But it's apparently Bo Weaver tried it and said that the results were quite good. Like the preamp inside worked pretty cleanly, and at least with a condenser mic, he had really good results with it. So. Actually, I had a question about changing the subject a little bit but still remote recording. The Zoom, all those Zoom handheld recorders like the H4 and the H2 and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. What kind of, is there an advantage to using that? I think that's what Trumpet Guy 89 said. That's my dad in Pennsylvania. Go. What are your thoughts on that thing?
Yeah. Is he recording the birds out in the backyard or something?
Well, he records, I think he uses it mostly for recording band rehersals, because my dad has a big band, Big G and the Cool Cats.
Right.
Can you use that? Yes, you can.
Of course
it could be useful. You could take it into if you have an older PC laptop, or if you have something that's too noisy to have near the mic, then you could use something like that and bring it with you.
Here's what I use.
What is that? What is the M Audio.
This is the M Audio. What do they call this thing? The micro track.
The micro track, right?
The micro track. Now, the thing is, and we've talked about this before too. You can actually throw a condenser. This has phantom power in it.
Yeah,
not true phantom power, but
it'll work with most mics. Yeah,
that's right. The thing is if you use it, you can throw if you have a preamp with you or something like that. This works great. Now, the great thing about this one is that it's got all these connections on it. You can throw, a dynamic mic in it. You can throw the condenser mic in it. It's got a headphone jack on it, but it's also got RCA jacks, and it's got a SPDIF.
Right.
And, for a while, because it's dead silent, I mean,
very
it's
quiet.
not going to make any noise at all.
Yeah.
I had a preamp. My Eureka, my Presonus Eureka, actually has a SPDIF out.
Right.
And I just ran it to that. Silent, dead silent.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it was really clean.
It was really, really nice. Yeah. And then the battery started to wear out on it, so I got an iPhone battery for it and learned how to replace a battery in this thing. So now it's got a new battery because this thing's about 5-6 years old.
Yeah, it's amazing it still works. That was one complaint when it came out. Was like, what do you do when the battery dies?
Well, you go on eBay and you buy an iPhone battery, and it's the same size battery.
Awesome.
Actually,
well, yeah. To me, I think the advantage of it is if you have an older computer or laptop that has a really noisy fan, and that's the only way that you're going to be able to record, is you could get something like that, plug the mic into it. Now you have this silent little device that you can carry into a closet, whatever, a coat closet, and record your audio.
That's why I'm looking forward to. I'm waiting for Apogee to come out with the mic.
Yeah, mic.
God only knows when they're going to. I mean, they're advertising the heck out of it. It's on their website. Yes, it's coming. Yeah. It's coming. When?
Yeah, I call it.
Get it out already.
I call it vaporware.
Vaporware.
Yeah, vaporware. When it's sitting there and it's just right there in front of you, but it's not real yet, and you can't touch it and you can't buy it.
Right.
Vaporware.
Okay.
Could be vaporware for a while.
Yeah. Hey, do we have any bad audio this week?
Oh, I've done so little remote audio support lately that I really don't have any good bits and pieces, and I don't think anybody sent us any either. So,
bummer.
Yeah, that's one of the fun things.
That means we've solved everybody's problems.
That's right. There's no more bad audio left. Actually, no. I have a good one. I can't get there from here right now. It's on the other user account on my Mac right now. But this client, I got on the phone with her, started getting an idea of what she's got going on, and she's telling me she's got a U87, she's got a Grace 801 preamp, which is like a $5,000 8-channel preamp. And I'm like thinking, huh? And I was trying not to draw any conclusions, and I was basically trying to ask her nicely, why do you have what you have? And it turned out that she has a full-blown studio. She does gospel music. She's a pretty serious music artist, and so she has all this stuff.
Right.
But she sends me her audio sample, and the recording sounded terrible. It had so much early reflection and just had so much junk going on that it was pretty much it wouldn't even fly for an audition, I don't think. Yeah. I mean, actually, my opinion on auditioning now is it's got to sound ready for air to win an audition these days.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, it was so far away from being what I would consider studio quality, even though she had invested probably a disgusting amount of money in this studio. So, we got into talking, and it turned out that the booth, while, was designed by a studio designer, this booth was never designed for voiceover. Mm-hmm. And frankly,
weren't.
Yeah. And there's a big difference between a booth used for voiceover and a booth used for music.
It's an isolation booth to keep you away from all the instrumentation. So there's not cross blob.
Yeah, exactly. I think I got the sample here. Let's take a listen real quick.
Oh, okay.
I think I managed to pull it off. Here we go.
All right, Joey.
Water is scarce or difficult to get to. Building rainwater catchment tanks, storage tanks, or a piped water system may help bring water closer to the community. If this is not possible, can the work of collecting water be shared to make it fairer and easier for everyone? If there already is a water system, can the community improve it by improving collection methods, fixing broken pipes and pumps, protecting water sources, and conserving water?
So you get the idea.
Yeah, really.
She was getting, the levels were very low. They were peaking around 15, maybe 12 if she was lucky. Mm-hmm. And she was using a Grace preamp, and then the output of the Grace was plugged into one of those $100 Shure X2U mic adapters.
Yeah,
right.
Jeez.
And I said, well, you have a whole studio there. Why are you doing that? And she's like, I want to keep the voiceover separate from the recording. She's got Pro Tools and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I understand. Well, it's not the right tool for the job, but let's see. You got me on the phone here. Let's see what we can do. So it's all about gain staging, right? She was running the Shure much too hot and only using about 12 dB of gain on the Grace. And then she had the phantom power on the X2U turned on. So it was pulling phantom power through the Grace, and it was kind of a mess.
Yeah.
So once we got
lively room too, it was.
And if you heard that room, it's very lively.
Like she's in a water system somewhere.
Yeah, no, it sounds like almost like she's in a bathroom. So she's describing the booth, and it was totally, they were doing all the things that they thought are the right things to do. Like there's no parallel walls, but it has a huge window, and the door has a window in it, and all this stuff. And the floor, which she said is hard cherry. There was nothing on the floor at all.
Elegant, but not very reflective.
Yeah. Very bad for voiceover. So, then voiceover is a unique animal. It doesn't matter how much you think you know about recording, or you might have had someone come in and teach and set up your studio, and you might have spent $50,000, $100,000, $150,000 building a studio, $500,000. But if the voiceover booth is a unique animal and has a lot of things that are different from music, you wouldn't want to sing in a voiceover booth. It would sound very dry and dead and lifeless.
I can try if you'd like.
Yeah, please. But, voiceover, while that sounds like the opposite of what you want for voiceover, you don't want dry, dead, lifeless. You do need it to sound as neutral as humanly possible. And the only way to do that in a really small studio is to have a pretty dead space. It's got to be as neutral as possible. It's really, really important.
Right. And we're here to help you do that. Because there's sure a lot of people out there who don't know what they're doing because we hear all their bad audio. But it's a wonderful feeling when someone says, listen to my audio, and I go, that really sucks. And they go, help me. And I'll go, do this, do that, do that. They call the next day. They send me a file, and it's like, wonderful. Very simple fixes. It's not rocket science. It's not brain surgery. The business itself is brain surgery, but the recording stuff, it isn't. Anyway, well, it's Sunday night. I don't know what else you guys were going to do tonight, but I think we've pretty much tied it up for now. We're going to be back in 2 weeks. Now we're going to have a little private business meeting here. Are we going to start doing once a week again once school starts and stuff like that?
We'll see. We'll take a poll on our Facebook page and see how much feedback we get. We'll ask you, the audience, should we be here every week? And if so, we'll make it happen.
I've got to buy like a TiVo or something like that, though. Because it's going to interrupt with Dexter on Sunday night.
But you can watch it anytime you want.
It's on YouTube. It's on iTunes. It's on
Ustream.
No, our show.
No, eWebs.
I want to watch it live.
I see. I understand. You want to YouTube. You want to record Dexter. I understand. See, you got your priorities straight. I like you.
I can be in the chat room.
Yeah, no, the chat room is where it's at. That's the whole reason. That's the motivation to get on here and watch this show live, I think.
That's right. So do we have another exciting guest for 2 weeks from tonight?
We are working on that. So we will let everybody know as soon as we find out who that really cool, excellent, awesome guest is.
And whoever they are, they'll be excellent and they will be awesome.
We make sure we bring the best for you guys. Before we go, Diane did find that link and she emailed it to me.
Yes.
I posted it in the chat room, and I will put it in the show notes on our website, so you guys can't miss it. So,
excellent. Well, that does it for us for another week. We'll be back in 2 weeks, which will be, looking at Mr. Calendar, will be August. That's the July calendar. Come on now. August, it'll be the 21st of August.
I'm always off one day.
Summer will be on the wane.
Mm-hmm. Then it'll be NFL football season. For those who care.
Yeah, you guys don't have a football team.
Nope.
We got one in Buffalo.
I still watch the Eagles. What can I tell you? Still a Philly boy.
All right. Well, I'm Dan Leonard in the East, along with Diane Merritt here in the East, and you're
George Whittam in the West.
And together we're East West Audio Body Shop. Enjoy the next couple of weeks. We'll see you in 2 weeks, and have a great night. Take care.
Good night.
Bye.